Good day everyone, this is Joshmin Y. Maglinaw, and in this educational video, we are going to look into a really important subject of philosophy which every human person should understand and learn. And that is intersubjectivity. Have you ever heard the term before? It would be great if yes. But if you haven't encountered it, I hope you watch and listen to this video very closely. Because this topic is very significant to creating a better us, especially in the aspect of thinking and relating with others. What is intersubjectivity? Intersubjectivity is a term originally coined by the philosopher Edmund Husserl. It is most simply stated as the interchange of thoughts and feelings, both conscious and unconscious, between two persons or subjects as facilitated by empathy. To understand intersubjectivity, it is necessary to define first the term subjectivity. So what is subjectivity? Specifically, it is the perception or experience of reality from within one's own perspective, both conscious and unconscious, and necessarily limited by the boundary or horizon of one's own worldview. Therefore, intersubjectivity is the sharing of one's perception or experience of reality to others, or the interaction between the self and the other wherein there is a mutual recognition of each other as unique but equal beings. Intersubjectivity is a structure of relationship that is supported by genuine communication and founded on mutual respect for one another as subjects.
As humans, we have the natural and universal tendency to relate, to establish attachment and seek close relationship with other people. Our human nature drives us to reach out to other people and interact with them in meaningful ways. A good way to think of intersubjectivity is to imagine how one relates to their family and friends. Maybe one of the family members enjoyed playing volleyball. He took one of the members of the family with him when he practiced, and he always had a good time. Growing up, he decided to join the school volleyball team. If that member of the family had not played volleyball with him growing up, he may not have grown to like the sports. The experience with volleyball can be called intersubjective because it was influenced by another person. The interaction between the self and other is related to the philosophical concept of intersubjectivity, which is the mutual recognition of each other as persons. Important values related to intersubjectivity include acceptance of differences and embracing diversity. We understand that each person is unique, therefore differences will exist among groups of people. When we look at physical traits and even behavior, we can see that no two persons look and think the same. We have to accept that people have different views and beliefs. What unites us all is our shared humanity and dignity. The recognition of our shared humanity and dignity is what drives us to extend assistance and act with concern towards others, especially towards individuals or groups that experience hardship and discrimination. For instance, those who are physically and mentally challenged often experience hardship because of their condition. Despite their limitations, many of them have successfully transcended their disabilities to become productive and happy individuals.
Lesson 2: Accepting others. This interaction between the self and the other is related to the philosophical concept of intersubjectivity, which is the mutual recognition of each other as persons. As humans, we have the natural and universal tendency to relate, to establish attachments, and seek close relationship with other people. Because our human nature drives us to reach out to other people and interact with them in meaningful ways, such as helping one another. Through our interaction with others, we understand how and why people think and act the way they do. Thus, we notice how different we are from each other. Important values related to intersubjectivity include acceptance of differences and embracing the diversity. We understand that each person is unique, therefore, differences will exist among groups of people. When we look at these physical traits and behavioral traits, we can see that no two people look and think the same and they're not familiar. We have to accept that people have different views and they have different beliefs as well. What unites us is our shared humanity because we're the same species, we're still all humans, and our dignity. Now, the self and others are seen as a pair that shares each other's experiences. This is much like the concept of empathy or being in the shoes of others, feeling their feelings. So I think that's all.
Hey there, how's everyone doing today? Are you depressed or unmotivated? If so, don't be. If individuals such as Stephen Hawking could calculate the relativity of quantum physics while suffering from amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, and Oprah Winfrey, despite her being abused and mistreated as a child, she motivated herself and became one of the richest women alive today. If they could overcome their own disadvantages, so could you. Intersubjectivity is more than just being connected with society. It's more of to be able to influence yourself and to those around you, to better the world, to progress, with the goal of accepting everyone's differences, whether they may be slightly similar from one's own self, or as vastly different, diverge of each other's uniqueness. So, if you are sad, gloomy, depressed, and unmotivated, do that. Then after that, move on and progress. Because life is like an arrow. When you don't hit your mark, you pick it up and throw it again and again, because failure is just a motivation. Don't be depressed or unmotivated. Because life doesn't stop when you feel sad. You must keep moving forward and push yourself until you can be the best version of yourself. So thank you for listening. And now let's proceed to the next reporter. Thank you.
Dialogue is an interaction between persons and that happens through speech or the use of words, expressions, and body language. It occurs when two persons open up to each other, give and receive one another in their encounter. Genuine dialogue occurs when persons are willing to share themselves with one another. The awareness of each other's presence as a true person is defined by the acceptance of each other's uniqueness and differences. Dialogue, on the other hand, seeks to inform and learn rather than to persuade. It is a conversation animated by the search for understanding rather than for agreements or solutions. Martin Buber is well-known for his seminal book I and Thou and his philosophy of dialogue. Although he is often characterized as an existentialist, Buber referred to himself as a philosophical anthropologist, given his study of the wholeness and uniqueness of human being. According to Mr. Martin Buber, dialogue is described as an I-Thou relationship, meaning that both person in the conversation experience the other as a person like themselves. However, human beings may adopt two attitudes toward the world, the I-Thou or I-It. I-Thou is a relationship of subject to subject, while I-It is a relation of subject to object. In the I-Thou relationship, human beings are aware of each other as having a unity of being. In the I-Thou relationship, human beings do not perceive each other as consisting of specific, isolated qualities, but engage in a dialogue involving each other's whole being. For instance, love as a relation between I and thou is a subject-to-subject relation. Love is also a relation in which I share a sense of caring, respect, commitment, and responsibility. The concept of intersubjectivity also promotes a view that all people are equal. This would imply that people from other sectors of society, such as those who have physical disabilities or socio-economic challenges, are seen as individuals with the same potential and talents as anybody else. Because intersubjectivity is unbiased, everyone has the power to understand relationships and interactions occurring within the society with little regard to social or physical deficiencies. In effect, people who comes from marginalized situations are still be seen as significant contributors to society through their talents, skills, and their capabilities.
The recognition of our shared humanity and dignity is what drives us to extend assistance and act with concern towards others, especially towards individuals or groups that experience hardships and discriminations, and those who are physically and cognitively challenged, for example, frequently face difficulties as a result of their condition. Despite their restrictions, many of them have overcome their handicaps to become productive and happy individuals. Helen Keller. She was an American author, political activist, and the first deaf-blind person to earn a bachelor's degree. Nicholas James is an Australian evangelist and motivational speaker who was born with phocomelia, a condition in which a person is born with no arms. Rosel Ambubuyo. She is the first visually impaired Filipino to graduate summa cum laude from Ateneo de Manila in 2001. Despite her handicap, that is loss of vision, she was a consistent honor student. Living in this world is not perfect. We are not perfect. The examples given were a revelation for us, for this gives us inspiration to feel that we should be sensitive enough to understand every individual's differences. We sometimes feel that we are not capable of doing things, but from the given examples, we can say that we should be thankful already of what we can do. There is a lot of various advocacies supporting persons with disabilities have resulted in the institution of events and commemorations such as Paralympics, an international sport competition modeled after the Olympics that features athletes with disabilities. The United Nations has also instituted days of awareness such as World Down Syndrome Day in March 21, Autism Awareness Day in April 2, and International Day of Personnel with Disabilities in December 3. There is a lot of countries around the world that are encouraged to celebrate these days with activities that highlight individuals with disabilities. In many of these events, people with disabilities come together to showcase their ability and talents in talent shows, symposiums, and conventions. These events bring together able and disabled people in the spirit of friendship and cooperation.
Intersubjectivity generally means something that is shared between two minds. As used in the social sciences, it refers to the psychological relationship between people. It is usually used to highlight and contrast individual personal experiences by emphasizing the inherently social being of humans. Intersubjectivity has significant contributions to society and relationships, including the following. It validates real and authentic subjective experiences. It facilitates interaction among individuals. It enables individuals to look at others equally, regardless of any physical or socio-demographic factor. It promotes a sense of community and unity among individuals. It emphasizes that anyone can contribute to society. What this means is that humans are by nature gregarious or social beings, but although they are designed to operate in group situations, each experiences the world and the relationships uniquely as an individual. A basic human example of intersubjectivity is having a shared, common agreement in the definition of an object. So most people would experience intersubjectivity when asked to picture an apple. The definition of an apple would be the same.